Today we are going to be turning pork fat into lard, hopefully. I've never done it before. I have no experience doing this at all. I've never rendered any fat into tallow, lard, whatever. I have watched YouTube videos on how it's supposed to be done, and I'm just going to try it. The pork fat that we're going to be using today is from a ham. I bought a bunch of hams on Easter when they were on sale for a really good price. I bought one to eat and two for the freezer. I purposely bought a ham that wasn't cut, so it was just a whole ham, not spiral cut or anything like that. And my intentions was to cut it all off the bone. I save all of my bones for stock. And then dice the ham and can it so then we could have ham on the shelf and not have to pull a whole ham out of the freezer anytime we wanted ham. I don't think we're going to be able to can the ham that I chopped up because we haven't stopped eating it. We haven't really pulled anything out of the freezer to eat, and we just go to the ham. We've been using it for breakfast. We had it for dinner, so there's really not any left to can. I guess maybe next time I'll have to buy a couple of them that way, so that way I can actually have them to can. So the fat that I have is cut off of the ham. I did Google, look it up, do research, I guess, on if I could even cook down that kind of fat and make it into lard, and I saw that I could. I was looking on how to do this, cook it down and everything, and I saw a video on where they did it in a crock pot. Well, it wasn't like a how-to on how they did it in a crock pot. They were doing it commercially, so they were using other equipment that I don't have. But they said that you could do it in a crock pot, so I thought I would try to go that route. I've never done it before, so I don't have anything to compare it to, so we'll just have to see how it goes. So I have my crock pot going, and it is on. I've already started putting some in there so that way it could start cooking down. I have this paper towel. I've just been throwing pieces that I didn't want to put in there, so it's like fatty pieces, that thick hide piece. And we'll either like give it to our dogs. I'm sure we're just gonna give it to our dogs. So I have my cutting board, knife, and then I had this fat all saved up. I had it in the fridge. I just cut up the ham like 2 days ago, so I wasn't worried about needing to refreeze it. And I'm just gonna cut it smaller so that way it has more surface area to cook down. A lot of people recommend grinding theirs, but I only had this one bag and I just didn't want to get my grinder out and deal with that mess for this little of amount, so I'm just cutting it really small. And if I was using a grinder, these kind of like fat stringy pieces would get stuck in the grinder and make a mess. In the video that I watched, they didn't cut it up small. They just threw it in on however they trimmed it off of the pig that they were using. Actually, I think they were doing tallow, but it's basically the same process. But I'm gonna cut mine down. I don't want it to take forever. And then I'm just gonna do that until the entire bag is done. So I'm not done yet, but this is what it looks like right now. It's really cut up, and this is gonna be the first time that I stir this. I'm not sure how long it's gonna take. You just cook it down until there's like not any more bubbles in it, because that means all the water is released. And then I think I'm going to try to store it in some jars. So I'm gonna get the jars really hot, maybe heat this up on the stove to get it really hot, and then try to create like a vacuum without canning it. We have all of our pork fat in here. There is not very much. I knew there wasn't going to be very much. It was just off of one ham. So I'm probably not even going to have to heat up a jar and do anything with this. We'll just use it when we're done with it. One of the reasons why I opted to go the crock pot way is when you're rendering fat, it takes a long time and you have to constantly stir it, constantly watch it, especially in the beginning, or it'll burn. And I just don't have time to sit in front of the stove all day today. I need to get stuff done outside, so this method lets me just check on it periodically, come in here, stir it up, check it out, make sure it's doing okay, versus the stove method where I would have to stand over it and keep an eye on it a majority of the time. I'm in here checking on the ham or the fat. And it's been in here for about 45 minutes, and as you can see, there is liquid down here. I'm sure some of it is water, but at least it is doing something. We are at the 2-hour mark for our ham fat. There is lots of liquid in here. It's looking really good, I think. I mean, looks good to me. The whole house smells like we're cooking a ham right now. It smells really good in here. I just kind of spread it all out evenly after I stir it. Make sure everything's kind of pushed down. Everything is even. I did just take the lid of the crock pot off. I probably should have had it off the whole time. It keeps the steam trapped in there and you're trying to evaporate all the water. It's just a habit when you're cooking in the crock pot to leave the lid on, because I always cook with the lid on in the crock pot. We are at 3 hours in with our ham fat. This is gonna take a while. I know that it's gonna take a while, but that's all right. I'm just doing stuff outside, and every time I come in the house, I just check on it. Nothing's been scorching or burning or anything like that, so I'm comfortable just leaving it here and letting it go. And like I said, I try to scrape down the sides, make sure everything is in there. Don't want it to just get left on the side. We are at hour 4 now of this. I did notice some like burning on the side. I'm not sure how well you can see it. I did turn it to low. I almost wonder if I should have turned it to low after maybe 2 hours. That way it had lots of liquid in it, and then it could have cooked at a lower temperature. Like I said, this is a trial. We haven't done anything like this before. If it doesn't work, we know to try a different way next time. I did not like the way it was burning to the sides of the crock pot. So I decided to turn the crock pot off, and while it was warm, I transferred it into a cast iron. I'm actually going to put this in my fridge and resume this tomorrow. This might be all that I get, I'm not sure, but I'll put it on and do it on the oven tomorrow and see what happens. It is the next day. I am pulling my fat out of the fridge. I'm going to have to heat this up really slow and keep an eye on it the entire time. This is what it looks like right now without heating it up. It is all melted now. It does have lots of bubbles in it, so I know it is not ready yet. We are an hour in since I've heated this up on the stove. You can definitely tell the color has changed. There's not as much in there as there was. I haven't removed anything yet. Thinking about removing some soon. And then after I remove it, I think I have to let it maybe cook for a little bit longer to get some of the water out. I definitely think we're getting closer. I opted to use a wooden spatula. I think doing this with a plastic or a rubber, it would have melt. I have Had to like scrape the bottom off a couple of times and really just pay attention and watch to what is happening here. So it's been another half hour. I think I'm going to call it quits on this. They are pretty dark. I have been keeping an eye on them and tasting them so they don't taste burnt. The one that I just tasted borderline burnt. They've started to crack and pop in there. I don't think cooking them down anymore is going to yield that much more of a result versus like my propane usage. So now I'm just going to strain it. This is going to be very hot. I have this set up over here. I have a jar. I just want to go right into the same jar that I'm using. I have a metal strainer with a coffee filter, and then I have a funnel to kind of hold the strainer better. We use a lot of paper towels. I've been trying to cut down our usage by using hand towels, but sometimes you just need a paper towel. This is what is left. This is the stuff that I strained, all the fat pieces that I cut up, and then this is what came out of it, the liquid. I was really hoping for a cup. I got about 3/4 of a cup. It is what it is. I'm gonna set this aside and let it cool. Our lard has cooled. It is nice, it's pretty. Oh, I guess I didn't strain it very well. That's fine. It's not a large batch, so I'm just going to keep it in the fridge. I don't have to worry about storing it anywhere, keeping it on my shelf. We will probably use this within a week, honestly. So the lard took 5 hours in the crock pot and an hour and a half on the stove. For the amount that we got, it definitely wasn't economical. But for the learning experience and seeing pros and cons, how to do it, what not to do next time, different things like that, it was worth it. I've never cooked with lard before, so now I'm going to see about cooking with it, eating it, tasting it, see if I like it, and then I'll know if I want to do this in the future. I plan on doing it in the future, but at least this way I will know more about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.